Hi guys, it's your girl Mantate. Welcome to another episode of The Good News Is. The great news is that we continue to discover how so many young people are leading different initiatives across communities that are helping in the fight against COVID-19. This is particularly important for me as a young person because as young people, we're constantly saying that we're a majority population in Zimbabwe, in Africa, and the world at large. And to see young people actually take up the responsibility of partnering stakeholders, governments, and fighting COVID-19 is truly inspiring for me. And I hope it is for you. And as a young person, if you're watching this show and you've watched some of the videos that I've shared, you discover that a lot of the initiatives that I've managed to profile so far are led by young people. And it just goes to reflect just how much potential we have as young people, how much capacity we have as young people, and how much energy and creativity we have as young people to actually help in the fight against COVID-19. And this is not pressure to say you as a young person should do something, but well, it is pressure to say do something. You don't need to be on the ground because you're supposed to be observing social distancing guidelines that the lockdown has put in place, but also it's about the knowledge that you have, the skills that you have, the resources that you have readily available at your disposal to actually channel towards existing efforts by other young people or actually starting your own initiative. Because I always say this, that the COVID-19 pandemic is not the fight of the Zimbabwean government, the African governments alone, but it is the responsibility of the citizens within those countries. And as a citizen, what are you doing to make sure that you're part of the fight against COVID-19? So the initiative that I'm profiling today is targeting 60 households, 60 rural households in Victoria Falls. So what these guys primarily did was they set up a GoFundMe account. So the GoFundMe account is called Save Vic Falls Homes from COVID-19. The idea behind it is people contribute financially and these guys use these resources that they get to actually purchase groceries for these different communities that they're targeting, toiletries, they're actually using it to buy hand sanitizers, masks for the different people because they're saying that we want people to be safe, but in being safe we also want people to always have something to eat, because if someone is not going to work, because a lot of these people in the informal sector depend on the money that they make each and every day. So if I'm not able to sell my craft, it means that I'm not able to buy food. Not everyone is as well privileged as we are to be able to buy groceries enough to pull us through this lockdown. Some people actually depend on money that they're getting every day. So if they're not getting money at all, it means that their livelihoods are threatened. And we're looking at communities where it's children involved, it's elderly communities. No one deserves to go hungry in this effort that the government is actually making to fight COVID-19. So this guy sat down and said, what do we do with our networks, with our existing knowledge, with our life, the skills that we have, the resources that we have, in order to make sure that we cater for some of these households in Victoria Falls. So I spoke to Mlotshwa yesterday. She's leading the initiatives through Youth and Verse, and one of the things that she really pressed was they need as much support in terms of visibility, making sure that a lot of people in Zimbabwe and outside can actually discover that the work that they're trying to do. And beyond just the visibility, it's also just a call to you to say that extra eco cash that you have, that extra money in your bank account, that cash that you have, or you can actually donate beyond just cash in kind as well. You've got minimal, you've got groceries that you feel you can actually give away. They're saying that they'll really, really be grateful to see more Zimbabweans actually supporting their initiatives. And one of the things that I also pressed was that it's not really just about the money, the groceries, and the toiletries that you can donate to them, but it's also about really just keep providing them with a car, providing them with a driver to actually help them run the errands that they have during this particular phase where they're actually mobilizing resources. And I think really it's something that we can be a part of somehow. I mean, you don't lose much by sending that $2 in your EcoCash account. You don't lose much by sending that $10 in your account. And I really hope that we see what young people are doing, because while we sit at home and try to be safe, someone is out there trying to raise money to help someone not just be safe, but also just to make sure that they eat, because they can survive COVID-19 by staying at home, but can they survive the hunger? And also just to say this, it's not the only initiative in Zimbabwe. There's so many initiatives that I'm seeing across the different communities in our country and in Africa as well. And as much as I'm gonna bring them for you to recognize that young people are taking a stand and they're bold enough to take responsibility, it's not really just about recognizing young people and saying, bravo guys, you're doing something great, but it's about being practical. Respond. When I tell you that Youth Invest is doing an initiative that requires money, if you've got the money, please contribute. If you've got the car, if you've got the driver in Victoria Falls that can be helpful to them, do something. If it means sharing this video so that more people get to discover about this initiative, do something. Because at the end of the day, we make so much excuses about how, oh, I'm on lockdown, so I can't really step out, I can't do this. But there's always something that you can do to help other people to be a part of the fight against COVID-19. So actually, I'm going to share some of the details that you can use in order to reach out to these guys, but primarily for those on social media. I'm hoping that everyone that's watching this is on social media, but for those that are not as well, there's an avenue for you to be able to reach out to these guys. So on Facebook, if you go on Facebook or on Twitter, you actually look for Youth Invest and you'll find their page. Like their page, share the work that they're doing, but also just reach out to them and ask how you can be part of the initiative that they're leading. And beyond that as well, there's an email address that you can use to actually send them a request for information or whatever it is that you want to get in touch with them about. It's hello@youthinvestglobal. It's hello@youthinvest.global. Yeah. So the phone numbers that you can actually use as well is, first of all, we've got 0775 181 826 and 0784 332 747. So you can replay this video and just look at the screen as well, because we're sharing these numbers and the email address on the screen as well. So make sure that you actually get in touch with these guys. I really hope that this kind of feature profiling actually helps them get visibility, because I feel that in initiatives like this, visibility is everything. As much as it's about getting more people to see this, and if more people can see this and share it, it means that there is a greater probability of them actually supporting. So get it out there, talk about it, share their work, share their story, because it's a positive story, and these positive stories are really just reflective of the positive initiative, the positive environment that people are trying to build, even as we try to face this pandemic. That really is, we're in uncertain times. So this is part of them saying, how do we deal with the casualties of lockdowns, the casualties of social distancing that are really affecting different communities across Zimbabwe. So yeah, this is an initiative that I felt was worth going live with, and I hope that you found it very powerful and you'll do something about it. So join me again for another episode of The Good News Is, where we're profiling positive initiatives across Zimbabwe, across Southern Africa, across the African continent as a whole, to say, what are young people doing? What are citizens doing to help fight COVID-19? So thank you so much for joining me. Looking forward to seeing you again in my next episode. Cheers.